You're listening to Solo in the Shop. This week's episode is all about investing in yourself. Whether you are a hobbyist, weekend warrior, making commissions for friends and family, or already a full-time maker, if you are solo in your shop, this is the show for you. I'm Ronald Lowe's, the host of Solo in the Shop, a woodworking podcast discussing everything from current projects, tools and techniques, decisions around running a small business, and much more. So if you frequently find yourself alone and covered in sawdust, follow my journey and we can be solo in the shop together. Hello, everyone. Today's topic is kind of inspired by projects and things going on right now. So I want to take a minute to talk about those. I have a dining room table that I'm working on. It is just a wide slab, live edge, black walnut with cracks and knots and stuff like that I'm filling with black epoxy. And I was a little ambitious with filling some cracks and rushed the process a little bit. And so where I was hoping to quickly fill, flood, cure a large crack, instead I ended up with an overnight leak and a big old epoxy mess on my pouring table and onto the floor. And that just kind of reminded me that even though I've done a whole bunch of these, trying to take shortcuts or assuming that good enough is good enough was not serving me. And now I'm a few days behind schedule because I've got to wait for what I poured that is now coating the inside of the crack. I need to let that cure, create its own seal, and then pour again. So that puts me behind schedule. So it was a learning experience, but I'm learning a lesson that I already knew. There is a right way and a wrong way to prepare the slab for that much epoxy. And honestly, I just wanted to get it going because I had other things on my mind that are coming up that I wanted to get this thing done, get it out of the way, make some room in the shop. The other thing that's going on is I have a woodworking guild in New Hampshire that I am a member of, and I've offered to do an introductory session on the shaper origin. When I think about the origin and what I would tell people who don't have one, who are curious about the tool, there's so much to cover. And it's a little overwhelming thinking about where to start, what's important, what's too much detail, because I feel like I could talk about that tool for 4 hours, and that is not going to serve anyone. We need a structured curriculum that has a natural progression. And so I've been giving a lot of thought to what is that going to look like? How am I going to present it and getting prepared? So those two things combined had me thinking about, one, have I invested enough in my own discipline and skill? And two, I think about the people who are potentially coming to this origin training session and they're making an investment in themselves. Whether or not they make the investment in the tool or not, they're at least getting educated on the option and what its capabilities are and how that might be used in their shop. And so the overarching theme that's been on my mind is investing in yourself. One of the things that I heard recently was that you can't teach skill. You can expose someone to a technique, expose somebody to a skill, but that skill, that ability needs to be already in that person, ready to emerge and be developed. And without the development part, that skill is kind of useless. So then I start thinking about what are some ways that I can develop skills and improve my business and make that investment in myself. And the first one, obviously, is the whole continuous learning. I'm lucky enough to, one, have the guild that I just mentioned, and they have sessions almost monthly where I can go and do a class on sharpening hand tools or tool maintenance, machine refurbishing. I'm also a member of a makerspace that is more than just a wood shop. It offers a monthly schedule of classes from introduction to welding to 3D printing classes, laser engraving, sewing. There's just a ton of material, a ton of courses being offered at little to no cost. I've also taken a box making class from a local artisan, and that was surprisingly useful. Just making the box was not the main benefit. It was getting exposed to other techniques that I don't usually practice in my shop, and also talking with the other people, whether it's the instructor or just the other students in the class, about how they work, what their shop is like, and networking that way. In a perfect world, I would have the flexibility and time and money to take extended courses at either the Center for Furniture Craftsmanship in Maine or the North Bennett School in Boston. They each offer either full 1 and 2 year programs as well as intensive 10, 12, 15-week programs. And everyone I've talked to about these classes has recommended them. And I would love to make that investment in myself. So that's the most obvious investment in my business, is developing my skills, developing my abilities, techniques, and my repertoire of joinery and tool knowledge, things like that. There are other areas that would be a good investment. One area that I have been focused on is networking and engagement, and not just online. I feel like there's a lot of emphasis put on connecting on LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever platform, but I think there's even more value in connecting personally. I've had the opportunity to attend a couple business openings lately and made connections not only with other businesses, but with other makers, whether they're in metal, glass, flowers. But I've also met a lot of business development people and even politicians. And all of these are great connections to have to continue developing the business. So building relationships with peers, professional groups, chambers of commerce, these are all great ways to add support, collect advice, and develop collaboration opportunities to grow your business. It's easy to get enthusiastic about the woodworking and customers, things like that. But I feel like another area that is worth investment is getting business education and attending seminars or workshops or doing an online course to understand the process of developing a business, setting goals, implementing systems. These are things that aren't visible in the shop, but position you for success in business. Another great area for investing in yourself is encouraging customer feedback. It's always wonderful to get the oohs and ahs and appreciation from customers on a job well done. But it's also equally important to find out if there are things that customers would like to see done differently. And that doesn't mean in the woodworking project so much as in the marketing, design discussions, scheduling, communication, delivery. How that process of the customer lifecycle works is something that can always be fine-tuned. And there's no one better to give you that kind of feedback than the customers. Asking customers for that kind of feedback promotes loyalty and more communication and hopefully more business for you down the road. The last area that I'll mention is time management, and it's definitely worth investing in some kind of time management system. For me, I have a background in software, so I wrote my own. I have a standard checklist that I produce with each job that keeps track of all the steps that I want to go through for each project and makes it very easy for me to measure the progress on each customer's product. If you don't have that, a spreadsheet works, a whiteboard works, but you need some way to manage your workload, your deadlines, your consistency, your reliability, because being reliable is so critical in gaining and keeping customers. Those are the main areas that I was thinking about when considering investing in myself and what I think a woodworker solo in the shop should be considering. There are things outside the shop that are equally important. investing in family time, investing in your health, your fitness, your nutrition. These are things that will improve your whole life picture and have a halo effect that impacts your business. I encourage you to invest in yourself because I believe there is immense satisfaction and joy in stretching your abilities and inching closer to being a master at your craft and producing beautiful work in your shop. That's all I have for you this week. I look forward to talking to you soon.
If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, feel free to reach out to me at SoloInTheShop@gmail.com. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you got value from it and would like to help the show grow, I'd appreciate a review wherever you listen. Be sure to check the show notes for links to my socials or any extra stuff we discussed today. Until next time, stay safe in your shop, and we'll talk again soon.